Welcome to the Key to Growth podcast, Home Services Marketing Unlocked, with me, your host, Jen McKee. Every week, I sit down with top marketers in the trades, from the brains behind $100 million companies to those scaling from 1 to 3, even to 10 million, breaking down exactly how they got where they are and uncover the secret to their success. If you're ready to grow your business and get real, actionable insights, you are in the right place. Let's unlock the key to your marketing success starting now.
Welcome back, everybody, to the Key to Growth podcast. I am your host, Jen McKee, and today I am here with Matthew Abbott of Abbott Family Insurance. I had the pleasure of meeting him, I guess, at AHR this year. He was hanging out with some cool people, and we got introduced, and so I was really excited to have him on. More about internal marketing today. But before we get into all of that, Matthew, why don't you introduce yourself?
Absolutely. Well, thank you for setting the stage, Jen. Again, my name is Matthew Abbott, and I am the co-founder of Abbott Family Insurance. Abbott Family Insurance was not an accident. My brother is my business partner. My grandma helps out around the office. My wife helps out around the office. And so it's Abbott Family Insurance on purpose. But, kind of our come up story, who we are, I guess, is we're tradespeople by genealogy. Dad was a master plumber for 40 years and still going, I guess. He's more in the coaching space now. And me and my brother, we grew up being in the plumbing truck with my dad on the summers, and we grew up in kind of rural Western New York. So it was a very blue collar environment that we grew up in. The biggest thing was Kodak, but then they died in the early 2000s anyway. So that was about as much industry as we had around town. And so we grew up in the trades. My brother and I both served our country, both Army, both infantry. Jake was a Ranger. I was in the 82nd Airborne. And
Thank you for your service.
it was mostly our pleasure, of course.
Yeah.
And just the aches. That's the only thing. Aches that are still lingering.
I can imagine. So how did you go from being in a plumbing company to owning a family insurance company that serves the trades?
Yeah, so that's a really interesting story. I started actually in the call center side of things after the military because I'm medically retired. And I was going and using my GI Bill and worked my way up through the company. I think when they had the management changeover, they installed a new GM. He kind of cleaned house. I was like the 11th person in the company. So I was like one of two CSRs on the side. And they were a Nexstar company. So I was actually installed with Nexstar training and all that good stuff. And I worked my way up. I became a dispatcher and then inside sales, and then actually became their training department manager when we hit about 40 or 50 employees. And then the plumbing manager abruptly quit and they offered me the position. So, a little bit of plumbing background, definitely not a master plumber, but managed the plumbing department for Joe Cool Home Services. So it must have been like 2019. And we had a banner year. I mean, absolutely crushing our revenue goals, basically did 100% growth year over year. And yeah, even the owner at the time, Tom Graham, went to Nexstar Super Meeting and was one of the featured speakers because we were just growing like wildfire. They have since sold the private equity and had a whole rebrand and then that whole nine. But yeah, it was a cool opportunity. And I just kind of realized, early 2021 that I had this amazing opportunity. I had the sales skills. I had the stock market had done well for me that year. And I was like, you know what? I'm just going to go all in on myself. And because I'm medically retired, I was like, I need to find something I can do from a chair. And so I went on Indeed and I started shopping it around. The opportunity presented itself and put in my 2 weeks from there.
Awesome. Okay, so now I don't want to say sell insurance, broker insurance. I'm not sure what that right word is with home service companies. And obviously in our podcast, we talk a lot about marketing. And I think that, and you mentioned this, but I would love for you to talk more about this, that offering benefits to your team is a great way to keep them happy, and happy teams help you get great reviews, which helps your marketing overall. So what are some ways that you guys, let's start here. How can businesses think about marketing their benefits packages internally, just like marketing services to their customers? Like, how do they sell that?
Totally. So usually when I come into a business, we have the benefits conversation, but I kind of have like a meeting of the minds. Let's sit down and examine our mindset around benefits conversation. Because at the end of the day, if the owner is not seeing value in what they're offering to the employees, they're not going to be excited to talk about it. In fact, there's one of my favorite owners of all time. He's in a small shop out of Texas. It's like 20 something employee. And he was so over the moon about his benefits program and everything that we were going to offer to it. So he was like sending text messages to all the guys, emails to all the guys, and just like really himself drumming up that internal marketing out to his team to create that buy-in. This is where that mindset conversation comes in with me. Is I sit down with the business owner and I say, hey, look, okay, when you think about rolling out your benefits package, you need to think about your employees really as your customer, right? Not as your employee. They need to be your customer. So just like the same way you want to market to your member base, or you want to market to maybe new home sales or whatever your situation is that you're doing to target out external marketing, right? You need to do that same internal marketing because your employees are your first line customer. And when you have that first line customer that's happy, just like you said, Jen, when they're happy, they sound happy, they tone happy, they treat your customers, your clients with that same level of happiness, right? So I think that when we sit down for that mindset conversation, it really needs to be, hey, I need you to get on board with what we're doing here. And you have to do X, Y, and Z, which we'll talk about, in order to roll these things out to your employees effectively.
So first of all, it's so scandalous that you have a favorite customer because I don't know if I could do that. But what, besides like what he did, what are some of the most effective messaging strategies that you've seen people use to get their employees engaged with their benefits?
Yeah. So, simple things like apps that you may already have installed into your business, like Slack or, Teams chats and things like that. That's a great place to just set up some reoccurring automated messages kind of about the benefits programs and making sure that your team is actually, hey, make sure you get your physical, and things like that, so that it's being communicated throughout the year and you're getting that utilization back from the benefits. Because like everyone's number one complaint is like, I spend all this money in insurance and nobody ever uses it. Like, that's kind of the point, is like, you don't want to use it too much because then obviously I don't need to go down that rabbit hole, but
No, I think that's a good, I think actually what you just said is super interesting because it's the same as like, encouraging homeowners to get tune-ups so that they don't have a more expensive something down the road. And so it's the same thing that you want your employees to do is to get, and also it feels like then you're caring about them more because you're encouraging them to take care of their health. But at the same time, it's going to benefit you in the long run because you're not going to have to spend as much money on your benefits package if you're not spending as much money at the doctor because they're not getting as sick.
yeah, that's exactly right. And, I guess part of like one of the strategy components that we're doing specifically is like we're implementing other programs on top of the medical insurance that kind of tries to draw the utilization away from the medical plan itself. Basic things like telemedicine and those kinds of preventative care stuff. Because if the employees actually go and they use that preventative care stuff with their medical insurance, even if it doesn't cost the employee anything, you just got clicked on for having usage. Add all that up over the year, then the insurance company is going to come to you at renewal time and be like, man, you had all this utilization. You costed us all this extra money. Instead of a 20% renewal, now you're going to look at 40%. Right. So part of like what we're trying to do and is kind of keep those premium renewals down by having other programs in place that offset that, where the employee could go and use it off the medical insurance, get whatever care or treatment they want, and it doesn't ding that utilization.
So interesting. Okay, so what are some creative ways like businesses can showcase their benefits packages? And is that something that can be used as like a recruiting technique on social media or in other marketing channels?
Oh, big time. Another favorite client of mine. We're in Melbourne.
Oh, good. You have more.
I've got plenty. I honestly, they're probably all my favorite for one reason or another.
Right. I feel that. I love them all separately, equally. It's like your kids. Like kids are like, which one's my favorite? I'm like, I just love you guys so differently.
Right. 100%. That's exactly right. And he does a really good job of like being on social. And like when we rolled out his benefits package, there was like a whole video that he rolled out with it. And then we went into the shop and, we sat in on their regular meeting and they played some games. And then we talked about all the great things that we were giving to them, got everybody fed, gave everybody a pat on the butt and sent them out the door. Right. And yeah, it's just really like fundamental basic things that you're already doing from an external marketing position. And then it's just kind of shifting your mindset. Like, my employees are my number one customer. I need to market to them too. And same when you're trying to attract talent, right? is you go on your social media and you be like, yeah, so my employees are all getting, preventative care management, accident insurance, critical illness insurance, life insurance, dental, and vision. And we take care of that for you, Mr. Employee. And you can, spice it up however you want. But, the more that you can say that you're offering, obviously, the more you'll be able to attract and retain the talent.
I wonder what percentage of trades companies currently offer benefits, or is it something like how often should they change benefits companies? Like, how do you pick even a good one?
Yeah,
That was a lot of question.
Yeah, it's kind of all the same answer though. So you were right in the right thought there. Is first of all, insurance companies are insurance companies are insurance companies. You get what you pay for. Plain and simple. You get that bottom level HSA plan, nothing's going to be covered. You get that Rolls Royce, zero deductible, $3,000 max out of pocket. You're going to get what you pay for there. You're going to have some great copays, low out of pocket experiences, employee interfaces will be nice, doctors' networks will be robust. So as a broker, true broker, there's agents and there's brokers. I started out as an agent when I got into insurance, and that means I can only offer one type of insurance or one company. Okay. Now I'm a true brokerage. And what that means is I can offer all of them. So from the very beginning of the process, I want to find out what the wants and needs are of the business and what like their budget is. And then I'm just going to go and find the right fit from any of the carriers, because at the end of the day, it's a legal contract. And you're just going to get what you pay for when it comes down to the medical stuff. But
Interesting.
to answer the first question, a lot of trade companies are offering benefits now. The reason being is because we have such a huge labor shortage in the trade specifically. We're all hearing the scary statistics. We have way more people retiring than we have people coming in. So who is the ideal person to bring into your trade company? Well, you probably want somebody that's got some responsibilities and a family.
Exactly.
Well, how do you get those people? You have to offer really robust benefits packages. Again, another thing in my mindset conversation with the business owner is okay, so like, what kind of employee do you want? I literally asked that question. And based on what they give me is the benefits packages that I'm going to show them. Because why am I going to show them the Rolls Royce medical insurance that the wife is really going to love? None of the guys care. None of them care. It's about keeping mom happy at home. That's at the end of the day, or for the ladies in the office, typically, right? It's them who care. It's the ladies in the office that care, and it's the wives and the mothers of the guys that care. Those are the ones who get benefits, and those are the guys and people that you want in your company because they have responsibilities already. So that in of itself is creating that urgency for business owners to implement real benefits packages, which has been sorely lacking in the trades over the last 40 years.
Yeah, for sure. So I think that obviously it makes sense that in order to attract better recruits, you have to have bigger opportunities for them. And insurance definitely offers that. What about is this something? So as a business owner, I think it's fun to look at what type of benefits are offered. And even as an employee, when I worked for other companies, I thought it was fun. But is there a way that companies can make benefits communication be more like an ongoing campaign rather than just like a once a year type of thing?
Yes, absolutely. If you have a marketing team in your business already, you just walk up to that marketing agency that you use and you say, hey, I need you to start scheduling communications to my internal team, hand over your employees' internal contact information, and you just make them an active drip, text message drip, email drip, social media content or video content that's geared specifically to what their benefits are. These are things that you just get with your marketing agency if you've got one, and you do it. If you're still that generalist, that the CEO of the business, and you have maybe less than 10 employees and no marketing agency yet, do it yourself. And obviously, if you made it this far, you probably have some semblance of an idea of what you're doing already.
Yeah. And so what role do you think that leadership plays in marketing benefits internally, and how can they become ambassadors for their own programs?
Yeah, I mean, you just have to be educated enough about it to speak about it, right? Like any sales pitch that you do in the external world is the same principles on the internal side. You have to lower sales resistance and create a win-win scenario. That's why people do business with each other, whether it's your benefits or selling an air conditioner or a new sewer. It's the customer has to win and the company has to win in some way. And if one of those things is missing, then it all falls apart, right? So you have to kind of know what your benefits are. You don't have to know insurance, just know your benefits are. And every time you talk about it, be kind of excited when you do it, right? Your team is feeding off of your energy. If Jen, I walked up to you and I was like, man, that insurance guy, he really knew his stuff, didn't he? Yeah, I thought he was great. He's going to offer us a lot. don't you think? Right? Like, that's how excited is the employee after that conversation? Okay, I guess it's not that important, right? If the owner's like, guys, this is awesome. All right, we're going to get a bunch of great new benefits. Everybody's going to get a little pay raise. Everybody's going to get accident and da 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 da, all these bells and whistles, and it doesn't even come out of your paycheck. Who's excited, right? Totally different message. And so these are, again, it's all that mindset meeting. It's kind of how I set all the expectations for a business to take a benefits package with us and then be successful with it.
So I think something else that happens though whenever you roll out benefits is that it can take money out of their paycheck. So how do you suggest having a conversation around that?
Yeah, so that's kind of our proprietary stuff. So every single one of our clients
Like
at it,
secret, or it's just like it's different.
it's definitely different, and a lot of it is secret until you get to the finish line with us. Every one of them,
And
yeah, is making money. That's plain and simple. So when we come into a business, we are actually very focused on the tax strategy side of the benefits, which doesn't so much matter to the marketing or the internal marketing side of things. But because we're good at what we do and we use tax strategy to do it, we're actually adding real dollars back to the bottom line ongoing basis when they do business with us. And that happens by using a series of tax codes that we know how to use. That's proprietary sauce there. And we're actually able to either offset a huge amount of the cost of the medical insurance and also, like I was saying earlier, add some of those bells and whistles to keep utilization off the medical insurance.
okay. Are there some specific things that, I mean, you mentioned telehealth, but are there some other things that you guys often do that keeps that money off of the medical side?
Yeah, I mean, that's really the core foundation is there's an application that our clients get on their phone and it has a whole suite of benefits. Telemedicine to see a general physician, mental health counseling appointments, marriage relationship counseling courses. There's also a Mayo Clinic program in there for employees to use for their overall wellness stuff. But then additionally from there, and this is kind of what gets a lot of the trade companies fired up, is because we have a strategy mindset around this and we are using tax savings, we're actually funding really robust AFLAC style insurance plans for the employees. So what's every business owner's least favorite thing to hear is workman's compensation. That means somebody got hurt, they got to pay for it, and they're about to get smoked on their rate next year, right? So because we know this and because I've been in a plumbing shop and I've had to deal with this, I know that going very robust with an accident program incentivizes the employee to use their accident insurance, their accident AFLAC benefit. So they get paid, they have income coming in the event that something catastrophic happened, and they don't need to go, pee in a cup to get their workman's compensation. It doesn't consider that, right? And that's how we're able to offload off of major medical insurance as well as workman's comp. A lot of our clients are actively seeing how powerful this program actually is when it comes time to processing the health of their employees.
Yeah, that sounds awesome. So, how easy is it to switch from one type, like insurance provider to another one or insurance broker to another one?
Sure. That's a somewhat loaded question. So the first thing is the major medical is very difficult to make the changes, and it definitely is a big mountain to climb. I will always set that expectation with the business owner. If you want to climb that mountain, let's climb it. I'm with you. But it's going to be a little bit of a mountain we got to climb, okay? But as far as like the other stuff that we're doing, like the tax strategy and the AFLAC style benefits, that actually requires no broker change, and it does not require you to change anything about what you're already doing.
So, if somebody was working with a different company, they could still work with you for this.
Absolutely. Are you familiar with BDR?
Yeah.
Okay, so we are their exclusive vendor partner on all of this, and we are actively working to just roll this out to the entire member base. They all have different brokers and different stuff going on, but we're not interfacing with those other brokers. They don't need to know we exist. We don't even need to know they exist other than the fact there's medical insurance there.
Yeah.
So we're coming in and we're just adding on to what's already existing.
Interesting. And so it's a huge benefit internally. It's also a benefit for you as a business owner, and it doesn't have to even have anything to do with the medical insurance that you already offer.
That's right.
Very cool.
That's right.
So I feel like we already hit on this, but just like what KPIs are businesses tracking to measure the success of internal benefits marketing efforts, even before just the KPIs that you're measuring for your benefits, but just to make sure that you're talking about it in a great way?
Yeah, that's a great question. I think participation rate, really.
Yeah.
I think that's the number to look at. If your employees are getting your benefits, that's a good thing. I know it doesn't feel so good on your wallet, but it's a good thing because I like this illustration. illustration. So picture an air conditioning unit client, two different homes. We have customer A, which is a tenant landlord situation, and customer B, which is I just bought this house. It's worth more than $500,000 and I have some disposable income. Well, with that being said, every single one of our businesses is going to want to go for customer B, right? Because customer B has the chance to get the UV bulb and the air cleaner and the surge protect, all the bells and whistles and the membership, right? The landlord tenant situation is not buying your membership program. And if that unit breaks that you installed, they're probably just going to call the first person to bill, right? But that's a race to the bottom dollar there. Meanwhile, over on customer B, okay, you sold all those things. They have all those things. It's 11 p.m. and it's a dead in the middle of summer and there's a baby in the house. And that air conditioner goes out and they got all their bells and whistles and their new system from you. I'm waiting for them to show up. I'm waiting for that person to come back. Your customer is going to behave in those same ways. The more that you can bolt on, the more likely they are to stick around or to...
Your team. That's what you meant, right? Your team.
That's right.
Yeah, for sure. And so the more that you can give them, that makes you as a more valuable employer, then the longer that they'll stick around. And we know that hiring new people costs a lot more in time and energy and mistakes and all of the above than it does to just keep somebody who's great and happy.
That's exactly it. And then because of just the way we do things, we just find more ways to give it back to everybody. We try to create that like perfect, it's like a 3-win trifecta. You know, the business owner wins because they're putting net revenue back on their bottom line. The employee wins because they're getting all these new great financial security programs that does not reduce their net pay. And then we're winning because we just knocked it out of the park for you, Mr. Business Owner. And we pretty much just got you to be our client for life because everybody stays winning.
Yeah, for sure. I love that. So what trends do you see shaping the future of internal marketing for benefits and how can businesses prepare for them?
Yeah, I think AI is sculpting a lot of that. Don't you, Jen?
For sure. I think that's the answer to everything. What trends are in the future? It's AI.
AI, right? Like, it's kind of crazy, but it's kind of real.
So how is AI impacting the insurance world right now?
That's wow. I don't even know where to start. It's all over the place. One of the things I've seen recently is AI underwriting. So you can plug in a person's social security number. And this is like the scary part is like, let's say you have your cookies turned on, okay, on your browser setting. This AI technology kind of look at your social, find where you are, then match it up to an IP address. And then they're able to actually look at your behaviors and stuff from like what you do on the internet.
No fry way.
Crazy.
That is so
Crazy.
I mean, ChatGPT is one of my best friends, but I'm not sure how I feel about that.
I don't feel too hot about it either. I'll be honest with you. It's kind of like that double-edged sword. And,
Yeah.
you know, I feel
Like sees all the things you're like, am I dying?
yeah,
Every time you've searched every like possible ailment, it's like, no, this person needs a lot of insurance. You're really doing something wrong. Oh no.
that's you know, alcohol sales. It's crazy. Like if you're a heavy drinker and they can tell that from whatever data they scrape off you, I mean, they can tell. They know. Same with cigarette smokers. Like, you know, they just, this new technology is like wild.
So interesting. That reminds me, I saw this story one time and it was actually, I mean, I saw it years ago, probably at least 5 years ago, but basically it had to do with social media algorithms and how they serve ads to people. And there was a parent saying that their child, it was a young person, like 14-year-old daughter was getting ads for pregnancy. And they were like, she's not pregnant. And it turns out that she was, but she didn't even know yet. So it was just like these different things that she was doing and looking at and that were leading the algorithms to believe that she would potentially become pregnant in a really short period of time, which is so crazy because we don't think about like what we're looking at, you know, and she wasn't looking at things about being pregnant. It was other things that she was doing that made the algorithms see that this was something that was potentially gonna happen to her in the future, which was totally crazy. And that was even before like AI was big. I mean, algorithms are a form of AI. Obviously, that's how they work. But before like ChatGPT and it was such a common conversation. So I could totally see how that is going to impact insurance in the future. And I mean, that just means you can't lie. And so it actually would probably keep insurance companies at a higher profitability because you would have much less risk involved because you would kind of know your customer a little bit better.
That's exactly the direction that they're going with a lot of this stuff. Luckily, a lot of the companies that we do prefer to use, their technology departments aren't as advanced as like say an Aflac, which is one of the companies that's like adopting this stuff. We typically work with what I call the Chevrolet models of insurance, right? Because a Chevy is the same thing as a GMC, is the same thing as a Cadillac, right? The frame is all the same. It's got four wheels, sometimes even the same engines. It's just a different badge. That's how we do business, is like all those like really expensive, well-known brand names like Aflac or Colonial Life. Well, they spend a lot of money marketing. Allstate, right? They spend a lot of money marketing. That reflects in your premium. You are paying for that as an insurance. So we typically go after maybe lesser known carriers and providers because we can get a lot better rates for equal or better benefits in almost every case. So we do, that's part of what our shopping thing is with being a brokerage. We're not captive to a company. We are captive to the best interest of our client.
For sure. I would, though, start looking at how you can utilize AI because it's not going anywhere. And the faster that you take it, the faster you start using it, the faster you won't be left behind. The more likely you won't be left behind. So
Yeah.
I mean, it's like so easy to be like, oh, that's kind of scary. But you can also just see how beneficial that could be in the future. So
I'll do a little shameless plug here because I'm a member of the class, but AI Automations and Foundations from Tersh Blissett and Josh Crouch, fantastic course. We belong to their school, and we have implemented AI heavily into our business. We're not a service business, obviously. It's kind of more geared towards like Service Titan integrations or Sarah integrations, but the principles were all the same. And we were able to take those principles that we learned in that class and then implement it to our own CRM system that's unique to insurance. And as a matter of fact, like we're running some new Facebook leads for life insurance prospects. And I just had my marketing person do the API plugins to go from Facebook right into our CRM. And that way we got that speed to lead happening and we can start dripping and moving that customer through our sales funnel immediately. So yeah, we're all in on the AI. As scary as it is, we don't want to get left behind.
yeah, I love that. I just messaged them the other day. I'm like, can you guys just talk to me for an hour? I'm like, I should probably just go download all their free resources. So
Dude, get in the class and then you're doing all the recorded videos and you just kind of go at your own pace. They started doing weekly meetings on Fridays. It used to be just monthly, but I'm still working to try and incorporate it on a weekly basis because, there's always questions and things that we could do to get better because Tersh and Josh are like on it. Like they know everything that's changing, like the day it changes.
I know. That's so good. Such a great. Okay, so every time we end the podcast, we end with a question, which is what is the key to growth? So it can be taken in any manner that you want, but what is the key to growth?
Mindset. It affects everything you do at every level of what you do it. Mindset.
Yeah, I agree with that. All right. Well, why don't you tell people how they can find you, how they can work with you guys, where they can find you on social or online?
Yeah, absolutely. So we do have all the regular social media stuff that you can find us on. I will say our external marketing definitely still needs some work. We are, doing a lot of it ourselves still, but our website is great. You can contact us right from there. And one of either myself, my brother, or one of my agents will get in touch with you and get you started.
And what is your website?
AbbottFamilyAgency.com. So we are Abbott Family Insurance, but somebody owned that already, whoever's you are. I'm going to get you someday. So we're AbbottFamilyAgency.com.
And that's ABBOTT for any of you guys listening and not watching. And then on social, is it Abbott Family Agency also?
That's it.
Okay,
Try to
perfect.
keep that backlinking, keywording all.
That's how you do it. Absolutely. Well, thank you so much for joining us today. This has really been super insightful and has my brain spinning for sure. So I'm sure our listeners feel the same way. I appreciate your time.
Thanks, Jen.
Thank you.